Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today you join me at the world's greatest collector car auction here at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale 2023 here in Arizona, where today we're going to be meeting up with my friend Tyler, Hoovie's Garage, to go for a spot of car shopping. There are nearly 2,000 cars in this one auction. I have never seen anything like it, and we're standing right now surrounded by some of the best supercars, the likes of a Lexus LFA, no secret that is one of my favorites in the world. We've got a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. Just over behind is a Ferrari F40 plus SF90 F8 Tributo. We've got Lamborghinis, we've got Porsches, there's a Carrera GT, GT3 RSs. There are so many things to go and see. Plus, it's not just this. There are muscle cars, Mustangs, Camaros, projects, tuner cars, hot rods, special cars, charity cars. This is quite the place to be. The atmosphere is eclectic, but we're here at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale. We're going to go and find Tyler very shortly. Let's go car shopping and see if something takes our fancy. The variety of cars here is unreal, almost 2,000, and it's everything you can think of. The supercars, the classic American cars, all sorts of different things. But standing here, I'm in my kind of paradise right now. When Tyler comes along, he's probably going to show me what I should be looking at. And I do make no secret that one day I'd love a 60s Mustang. That is something that I would definitely love to add to my collection. But I mean, right here, a pair of 991.1 GT3 RSs, lava orange and ultraviolet. I've always loved that they launched a car with that color. Then this Ferrari, this 550 Barchetta, which is rare enough to begin with, was actually previously owned by Rod Stewart. That was Rod's Ferrari. That's really awesome. Next to that, a few other Ferraris, the F8 Tributo and then the SF90 Stradale. No secrets how much I enjoy my SF90. Before we have the Aventador SVJ Coupe, one of 900 coupes, SVJ. This is like supercar heaven. We're gonna get to the Ford GTs and that kind of stuff in a minute because there is a lovely line of Ford GTs. Here, the LFA. Lots and lots of love for this. The Lexus LFA was a masterpiece. Huge engineering effort went into that. The V10 sounds glorious and it absolutely looks the part as well. I mean, it's a stunning thing, so cool. Then we've got a 993 Turbo S. I know slightly less about the slightly older 911s, more about these kind of things. 991.1, 911R, of which they made 991 due to the code name of that. Lightweight flywheel, manual gearbox, a delight to drive that thing. Plenty of other 911s into some of the more American cars down there. This is just the start. We've got a lot to go and see. Let's get on the move and go check out what's here at Barrett-Jackson. Hey Tyler.
Shmee! Hello Shmee!
How you doing?
We are a long way from the museum and the Hoopty fleet, aren't we?
We are indeed, but what a place!
Absolutely massive. Yes, football fields upon football fields of cars selling. 1,900 of them, no reserve here in Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale.
And you've been coming to this for quite a while.
I came when I was a kid. I would watch it on TV, and they just kept seeing me here and eventually gave me a job doing the live TV coverage, I guess, you know. So I do that on History and FYI in between, well, hanging out with you, I guess.
So you've bought and sold cars here before.
Yes.
This time around, you are the man in the know who is pretty much probably the most informed person on everything that we're looking at
I
here.
try to study up as much as I can. I mean, obviously, we know the exotics pretty well, but we need to broaden Shmee's horizons here, and maybe he needs some legacy American muscle in his garage or some customs. So, you ready to go shopping?
Yeah, let's have a look around.
Okay.
Let's go and see what we can find.
Well, the customs are amazing here, but I think a Superbird should join your fleet, sir. I mean, look at this crazy 1970 Plymouth Road Runner Superbird. I had one of these, I sold it recently, but these were homologation race cars, so you had to sell what you built back in the day for NASCAR, and that's why you see this was actually sold to the public with the giant crazy wing on the back. Actually, you have downforce and stability, that's why it's so tall, so going sideways it would help. But it's also reinforced the frame, so it's really strong. I could hang off of this thing, sit on it, which I did with my old car, but it's not mine, so I won't touch, you know?
Not this one, but the funny thing for me is this is an even bigger wing than the Senna. And everyone jokes about how big the McLaren Senna's wing is.
In the big wang gang, this is the big one. Yes, come around and see. I love the neon that comes with it, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
That's really cool.
And of course, there is the meep meep horn I'm allowed to touch because I do work here, but... And then under the hood is the 426 Hemi. So this is only one of 135 that got the racing engine. You see the nose cone here was part of the Superbird as well for aerodynamics. So it's absolutely massive. The length's like a Ford Expedition, Chevy Suburban, just huge.
It is a massive, massive thing. So that's one. Where are we heading next?
Well, I mean, a Hemi Cuda in violet if you want something a little smaller.
I like
very,
that.
Very cool.
Colors are right up my street.
Yes, another Hemi car, which is very special. These always rock the block. The two Camaros are really neat. This one is a Baldwin Motion Camaro. So in 1968, you couldn't get a big block to go drag racing in a Camaro, so you had to make one. So Baldwin Chevrolet with Motion Performance, they would come and do this. And what's crazy about this car is it's all original, mostly original paint, interior, engine. You can see, well, almost 60 years and it's preserved this well. Just absolutely astounding.
That's awesome.
But then in 69, there was a little backdoor program, Copo, with the ZL1 where you could get a big block, and that's what this is. As far as Camaros go from 67 to 69, this is the holy grail and it is perfectly restored. But I know you and I are Ford guys, right?
Well, the last time we met up, we went out for a run in your old Mustang.
Yes, my 66 green Ford Mustang that matched your GT500 so perfectly, but I've traded that one in and I've gotten the real deal. There's one kind of like it here if you want to go see.
Yep, should we make our way through?
Sure.
You're probably one of the most well-known people here, so we're going to go for
we'll try.
quick squeeze and whistle-stop tour through.
We'll go around the loop here.
Past the line of Ford GTs.
Yes, just 5 selling, you know, no big deal. The coolest one, the Heritage Edition, obviously, and the owner, original John Mayer.
That was his Heritage GT.
Yes,
We're
very good
probably
taste.
there's a Brabus G-Wagon.
Yeah.
Brabus G-Wagon next to Ford GTs.
Pretty darn cool.
Squeezing through. Where are we going?
Yeah, we'll keep making our way around the crowds. I mean, this is record crowds for Barrett-Jackson as well. You see this crazy spec of a Bentley Azure. Now, I have one of these at home. The original owner was Jean-Claude Van Damme, the kick guy.
Really?
Is blue, you know, with the tan interior.
You have Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
mega.
I bought it for only 25 grand, you know, as a project, but it's in great shape. This one, the spec, just absolutely wild, the yellow with the blue. Love
I actually
it.
really like that. That color scheme is absolutely on point.
Yes.
This is quite up my street, this run of Mercedes.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah, I have
And you.
a Roadster.
You
I
have an
bought
SLR
it in
Roadster.
Houston at Barrett-Jackson.
Oh, really?
Drove it home from Houston. It was about 10 hours, did flawless, even though in the Carfax it had been on fire once, so I felt like I got a good deal. But yeah,
That's very you with the hoopties.
Yes, but you and I share the love for the SLS. I just have a normal 2011 like this, not the Black Series.
That's a low mileage car.
Very
45,000.
low mileage, yes.
I have the SLS Black. Obviously, this is a GTR Pro. I used to have a GTR Pro, one of 750.
Yes.
And then we have another SLR. I like
Yes.
that. Bonnet or hood open.
Right, which is quite a process to get that open, but it's cool to see, you know, both being, you know, front engine, but still mid-engine V8s. You can see how it's just mounted behind the front wheels there.
Massive front clamp. And then, oh, that Diablo's cool.
It's a wild spec. So Danny Coker of Counts Customs, it's a big show in the US. He once owned this car. I'm not sure if he was the one that painted it purple, but that's what it is, early Diablo.
We found some modern stuff.
Yes,
Aventador.
yes.
ZL1s.
But wait, you know the Aventador. You've shown so many Aventadors.
We know about these.
You need an old school muscle car like this.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yes, let's get into the Shelbys
So
here.
We squeeze through here.
Come on down.
Come on through. What
It's
are we
not
looking
the most
at?
chaotic walkthrough you've probably ever done, but this is a 66 Shelby GT Hertz. So Carroll Shelby, they needed to make some sales. Ford helped broker this deal with Hertz Rental Car to make 1,000 or so of these rent-a-racers, basically from Shelby direct to Hertz. So you could go and buy these and kind of race on the weekends. People did all kinds of crazy things with them. Even took the engines out legendarily and then would swap in like a normal 289 V8, and then they'd have a Shelby motor in their car and return it. So when I sold my green car, I found one of these and bought it. But it was also a race car after it was sold from Hertz. So it was a hill climb racer, a dragster, and now it's racing a lot of historics like Sonoma and Monterey, and that car's qualified to go anywhere. I'm not qualified to drive it yet, so I'm working on that so I can do Monterey historics here in the next few years.
That will be awesome. And I actually know this because they even do the new cars. They actually have a run of new GT500s in the black with the gold.
They have brought it back several times. So it is the most common and the most affordable of the 65 and 66s, which put it in my range, but I love the spec of the black and gold. I think it's awesome.
And maybe that's something I should be looking at.
You should get one. But there is probably the most special Shelby here. It's over, it's a little bit of a walk, so we're going to have to make our way through some more, but you need to see this Ken Miles Shelby.
Yeah, we're going to get there. What else do we have? Actually, I'm going to point over to our left. Over to our left, I know what that is. That's a split window.
Oh, yes. 1 year only, the 63 split window Corvette. And this one's even more special because of the Rochester fuel injection system. So this is like totally mechanical, run by vacuum, a very early fuel injection system that's pretty rare. So rare one-year only car, rare fuel injection system for extra power. 360 horsepower in 63, so that's pretty good.
That's crazy. I love how they give us all the information.
Yes.
For those of us who don't know everything, it's well documented. I mean, we're standing here in the middle of a whole, I mean, there's a whole variety of cars,
Yes.
spotting some more
Yes.
Superbirds.
2 more Superbirds, which, yeah, the 440 cars, but yeah, it's just absolutely insane. More Shelbys. Anyway, we'll try and navigate the crowds here.
This lineup is mega. GT500s, this is really cool.
Yes, the Boss 429, another legendary Mustang,
Yeah.
with basically the biggest engine they ever put in them.
Yeah, squeeze that under the hood intake.
Yep, and there's a pair of them. All right, let's squeeze out.
We need to squeeze on out.
Without knocking things over here.
This is unbelievably busy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a total, basically, lifestyle event. And when I started coming here, it was maybe 30% of the size of this. And, you know, the tent that we're actually in was the old auction tent, and then they built a building actually to have the auction block.
Okay.
It's just expanded
So
massively.
past the GTs, are we going to squeeze through?
Yeah, why don't we just go ahead and skip. We'll have a little bit of an obstacle course here, so be careful with the lights and things. But yeah, how many GTs? It's just wild to see this many 0506.
This is a car that's absolutely on my bucket list one day.
Oh yeah, it's one of my
I
favorites
think
too.
Something like a yellow with black stripe would be very me.
Yeah.
That's super rare being a striped elite car.
It is gorgeous, for sure. I love the supercharger when it's behind your head and the noise it makes. It's just fantastic.
And just the driving experience, manual gearbox,
Yes.
V8.
One of the best. They were so undervalued for so long, and now they're a little out of reach for old hoopty buying. But now we're in familiar territory.
Not
huh?
hoopties.
No,
Brand
no, certainly not. Both Carbon Series. Yeah, this one about $30,000 in options in addition to the Carbon Series. The other one, only 10 miles on it.
10 miles.
How could you do that?
Mine had 19 when I took delivery of it.
And they had to place it here too, so they probably added a mile to it. It's just absolutely crazy.
10-mile car, wow.
Yeah.
Love it with the exposed carbon. That GT2 RS is cool.
Yeah, they didn't let me drive this, but they did actually let me take this around the block a few months ago.
Okay.
And yeah, absolutely crazy spec. The hell green with the red interior. So the Santa Claus spec.
That's nice as well.
Yes,
The
yes.
Nürburgring time on the side, of course, it was a record holder, but the red Alcantara and the full red headliner and everything.
Yeah.
That's cool. Hellbrun, which means light green.
And then, of course,
F40.
the legend here, but a heavily modified one. Ferrari
Nardo
F40.
Grey F40, hey?
Yes, yes. So this one customized quite a bit to almost 1,000 horsepower.
This is really awesome. I mean, we're sandwiched here between an F40 and a Carrera GT.
Right. Absolutely wild. Yeah, so this one, I don't think they made the F40 Nardo Grey. Somebody painted this. Same with the Carrera GT. This one was only a 3,000 mile car, and somebody, I imagine it was gray or black like most of them, somebody decided that they're going to strip it all the way down to the carbon fiber body and repaint it in this PPG red. This is a not wrecked ever hit car. They just wanted to have a bold color, which it's a great idea, I think.
Fun story, I've actually seen this very car before.
Where was it?
It was in Florida, I think.
Oh, okay.
I presume it was the same one. I believe it was. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. But it looks, I mean, the Carrera GT is one of my favorite cars in the world to drive. I talk about that all the time.
Most certainly.
The F40 is many people's favorite car.
Yes. I haven't driven an F40. I got to drive a Carrera GT for the first time in Monterey for Car Trek, and it's definitely weird where you let out the clutch and you
Don't
can't
touch the throttle.
You can't give it throttle, to save the clutch, that whatever that feature
But
is.
it's that challenge that makes cars like this legendary.
Yes.
They're not easy to drive.
Yes.
Then next up, we have a Guards Red GT2 RS.
Yes. Not quite as wild of a spec, but then just as clean and nice and incredible. And then, well, pre-war Mercedes.
What is this exactly?
It's a 540K, and I believe it started life as a different kind of cabriolet body, so like a B body. This is converted to an A body where they wanted it to have the full swoopy look, basically the iconic look of these pre-war Mercedes.
It's a cool thing, but
Yeah.
this is a really cool thing.
This is really neat. So Ken Miles, of course, if you watch Ford versus Ferrari, you know him as Carroll Shelby's test driver and raced, and unfortunately died testing out one of his cars. So this car was actually built for him to race in SECA, but he died before he could get behind the wheel, unfortunately. Carroll Shelby built it for Ken Miles, but yeah, it did go on to race quite a bit. You see Carroll Shelby's signature in there, but a little bit of a bittersweet history with this one.
It is, but this is literally the car that was built for Ken.
Yes,
right
absolutely.
here.
Yep. So this may be the one you bid on. You got your bidder's pass?
It sounds like I need to. The heritage stripes, though, they actually pay tribute to this car with the modern one as well, with this.
Yes, the Wimbledon white with the blue stripes. It is probably the most iconic racing color for Ford right here, I think.
So we've only seen about 200 of the cars.
Yes.
There are 1,500 more.
Yes. I mean, yeah, absolutely crazy. And actually, I'm on live TV right now, so I got to get back to work.
Have to go.
Yes.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Great to see you again.
We'll catch up later.
Come back to Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come to the museum.
See you later.
Right, bye.
I'm always mesmerized by this kind of thing. We are looking at the ultimate in man cave accessories and items here. We've got all of the gas pumps down that away, traffic lights. Look at these. Neon signs off in the background. We've got all sorts of other metal signs as well. Various different ride-on cars, bikes, toys, carousel, you name it. That gigantic carriage over at the end as well, illuminated. But if you need things for your garage to deck it out in style, this is exactly the kind of thing to come and take a look at. You can look at everything here for ages. Further along, we come to the exhibitor marketplace where we have everything from boats to more signs to even a Lamborghini Centenario Roadster on display over here. One of the 20 Centenario Roadsters, the few-off series hypercar that was introduced in what would have been the year of Ferruccio Lamborghini's 100th birthday. They made 20 coupes originally, followed by the 20 Roadsters. I have been lucky to drive a Centenario before, powered by the 6.5-litre NAV12, the LP770-4, and this particular example finished in the completely exposed carbon fibre bodywork with the satin yellow accents that you have all around as well. On the interior, we have these incredibly hardcore bucket seats that were actually originally in the Aventador SV. They are very, very firm, I can tell you that. But this is really part of that few-off series of hypercars that began with the Reventon, based on the Murcielago platform, was followed up with the Sesto Elemento, the Veneno, Centenario, and more recently the Sian, and also the Countach. And while this isn't technically in the auction, it is fabulous to be able to see. This actually comes from a very, very special collection that belonged to the owner of this car. As we've continued down through what must be one of the world's largest indoor tents, canopies, marquees, whatever you'd like to call it, over here we have hundreds upon hundreds of further cars that are part of the auction. Just feast your eyes around here, a huge variety of cars as well. I mean, we've got some trucks right next to a little Sunbeam and a Bronco and everything else in between as we just take a look around. And in fact, this is not all. I think there are Japanese cars, American cars, European cars, even that, to give you a small sense of what all of this is about. But there are so many cars to explore. I'm spotting Corvettes, I'm spotting all sorts of things that I've been learning about, but this is very much where I would need Tyler to return to tell me a little bit more about what I'm looking at. And look, it just extends so far down. This place is enormous. Even a Fast and Furious liveried JDM car down that away. You get the vibe. There must be some Mustangs to take a look at around here as well, tucked into the various different aisles. All sorts of different Chevys and cars from different eras and generations. This is awesome. It is indeed a Supra that's lurking over here next to a Mustang. Next to that we have an Impala, and I come on past, we've got a Pontiac Trans Am as well, Mach 1 right behind. You start to see where all of this is going. This is a continuation car, GT500E, but I tell you what, this is a bit of me. It's from 2005, but obviously very reminiscent of a 67 in the blue with the white stripes. That's really nice. Maybe I need to come back at some point and pick one of these up. Check this out, the Warlord, which is based on a Ram TRX, except it is a 6x6 with silly amounts of power, and it is ginormous, about as big as the tent that we're in. Look at this thing. I think there was one of these that drove on the Gumball 3000. I'm not sure how many are actually out there, but it is absurdly massive. In and amongst all of the cars that we have around here at the moment, I'm kind of drawn to this, the BMW Z8. I've always had a soft spot for these, the heritage styling, and of course, featuring as a Bond car as well. I'm spotting a red V8 Vantage just there, but also, check out this, the police patrol. A jail on wheels. You would not want to get locked up in there, would you? I love that that's part of it all. There's a green Gallardo Spider here. That's causing quite the crowd, as it happens. Green, black wheels, green calipers. I would love a Gallardo Spider at some point. An original OG spec. This is E-Gear. That's sold at the auction. I think it'd be a good addition at some point down the line. We have to take a look at this. BMW Isetta. This is sold $46,200 in fact. I actually like that a lot, in pink. Pink with the white interior. Ooh, and the purple carpets as well. Basket on the back. That's fun. CLS, Supra, all sorts. This is as eclectic as you get. There's even a Bentley Super Sports as that tucked in just there. Look what we've stumbled into here. The McLaren P1 HDK, one of only a handful of HDKs by Lanzante in England, effectively giving it a 4-litre V8 up from the 3.8 and 1,000 horsepower. Think P1 GTR, but based around the P1 itself, so still with all of the comfort. You can see the finish and details of this. It's a bit of a throwback and tribute to the F1 HDK, hence the wheels and the styling of it and the colour scheme. I think they've only made a handful of these in total, but look at those wheels over the bronzed calipers on that, on the P1 HDK. That's cool. That's really cool. This is pretty cool. It's actually Craig Jackson's personal McLaren P1. Of course, Craig, the man behind Barrett-Jackson, he's actually driven over with his car, which, believe it or not, is not a wrap. This is actually painted in a liquid chrome to match those very bright chromed wheels as well. And the red pinstripe details it has. One of the 375 cars that's now on display up on the ramp for all to see out in the hospitality areas outside in the sunshine here in Arizona. But that's really awesome that he brings it over here. We have only seen a tiny fraction of the cars that make up this Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale auction. We've seen probably a couple of hundred at most out of the almost 2,000 cars. The variety is immense, and while I've not yet registered as a bidder, there are certainly some things that take my fancy. I mean, I'm standing here in front of 5 out of the 6 05 and 06 Ford GTs that are going to be crossing the block. John Mayer's heritage in the very centre. That's something I make no secret I'd love to add to my collection one day. Equally, a 60s Mustang. I mean, we're talking some big Ford history with these. The 100th anniversary car, the first gen GT. Of course, I have my second gen GT. And a 60s Mustang, as I said with Tyler, would be something really special to add as well. But we're going to see the likes of the new Ford GTs, the F40, the Carrera GT, the GT2 RSs, SF90, SVJ, the Lexus LFA. All of these are going to be crossing the block here during this auction in Scottsdale. And that is going to be fascinating. Of course, it's not just about the supercars. Tyler showed us around some of the other highlights and things that he was taking notice of as well, and he is a busy guy out here presenting and being part of the live TV stream and everything on that side of things. So a huge thanks to him for coming and sharing a little bit of time with us to show us a few bits and pieces. Of course, if you don't already follow Hoovie's Garage, I'm not sure what you're doing. All of the hoop tees and different cars that he has in his lineup, and a bit of influence perhaps on me and choices that I'm going to be making in the future as well. I think we have a little bit of crossover with our various cars as well. For now, this has been extraordinary. I have never seen anything like it. The atmosphere, the action, it all takes place over at the main auction block where the cars are crossing over. Every car with no reserve. Every car sells at the Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale auction, and it'll be fascinating to see as well what some of the charity cars do. The VIN 1 new Mustang, for example, and plenty of others. The same with the Hummer EV SUV is crossing VIN 1 as well. For now though, that is all. Do check out Tyler's channel. A big thanks to him for his time, and a big thanks as always to you guys for your support. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. It's hugely appreciated. That's it for this time though, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.